All right, hello, LinkedIn and YouTube. We are live again today. I feel like I've been going live almost every single day lately, but I'm super excited because today we have a special guest, Kirill Eremenko, who is the founder of Blue Life AI, Super Data Science, as well as Data Science Go, which hosts all these awesome data science conferences. Before we get started, I do want to ask a question for those of you who are joining us live. And the question is, if you were to ask, the 3 to 5 people that know you best, how do you think they would describe your brand, right? And in just a few words, what do you think your brand is in the data community or in general? Would love to hear from you. At this point, I'm going to bring Kirill into the stage. It was actually his idea to ask this question. So, hey, Kirill.
Hey, Kate. Hey, everybody. Super excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. We had like 400 people sign up and really excited to get the conversation started and, engage with the community. So those tuning in, feel free to ask your questions. He will answer every single question, no matter how difficult.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll
Far away. This is a really cool. I just want to say, Kate, congrats. We just discussed, you were the second person in the world to do these LinkedIn lives. This is incredible. I think the data science community on LinkedIn is huge and really friendly. It's really cool that you're helping bring value to them.
Yeah, thank you. It was an exciting time going live for the first time. I believe it was a year or two ago when
Wow.
the program just started. Yeah, it's been around for a while. Very few people actually have access, but there's a way you can go and apply to get access. You just have to show them that you've gone live before on other platforms and show the commitment that you're actually going to use the live feature.
Well, you're using it really well.
Yes, I think I'm using it more than most. We do have a few comments, questions coming in. Hey, we got Air Khan.
Hi, hello everybody.
Thanks for organizing. All right, getting people. We got Tammy in here. Hey, Tammy.
Yay, Tammy.
So, Kirill, before we get into building a data science brand, let's learn a little bit about you. Who are you? What do you do for those few of us that might not know you as well?
Okay, awesome. Not a problem. So probably the first thing I'd like to say is I run the company Super Data Science, where we teach online courses, and you can purchase them through Udemy or find them on our platform. I also have the Super Data Science podcast, which I run weekly. I come from a background in physics and mathematics. I did a bachelor in physics and mathematics, and then I did a degree in accounting and finance, and then I went to Deloitte. So I did some consulting, and then I went to the industry and did data science there. So that's in a nutshell my background.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, when were you at Deloitte? I don't remember us having this conversation.
I was at Deloitte 2012 to 2014, Deloitte Australia, Brisbane.
Okay.
Because I know you also worked at Deloitte, right?
Yes, for like 8.5 years up until recently. All right. So, brand, data science brands. Why is it important? Why do we need a brand in data science?
Okay, that's a good question. So, my comments are like my opinion, and it's formed through conversations mostly with our students and people on the podcast who I've interviewed, who are either our students, successful data scientists, or data science influencers. And through these conversations, what I've learned is that there's two main reasons for building a brand. There's a selfish reason and there's a selfless reason. The selfish reason is that in data science, it's a field that's booming, and it's not a hype field. It's going to stay, right? Data is going to stay. There's more and more data is going to keep permeating the world, and it's going to be ubiquitous. It is already ubiquitous in business, matter of how you use it. So there's a lot of data. There's a lot of companies hiring data scientists. There's a lot of data scientists who want to get hired or want to be data scientists or data scientists who maybe are getting into data science for the wrong reason. So building a brand in terms of selfish reason is to make yourself stand out, so the companies, the hiring managers know who to hire, know who to invite to jobs. And if you're not looking for a job right now, you never know what the situation might be in 5 or 10 years. So sharing your expertise, helping the world, but at the same time selfishly building a brand to make sure people know that you're a good data scientist, you're good at what you do, I think is a great reason to be building a brand. And the second reason, the selfless reason, is to help others, right? So by building a brand, you share content, you share your thoughts, you share ideas, you share tips and tricks and hacks and things like that. You help others on the same journey, and you're doing it not only by them learning the same things that you've learned, but also by branding yourself and standing out. You act as somebody who's inspiring to others. And it's always hard for people to get started. A lot of people have questions: should I get into data science or not? But by showing them your journey, your story, what you've been able to accomplish, you're helping them get into it. And I would highly encourage, especially people in minority groups, whether it's women in data science or whether it's people of color in data science, to build a brand, because you can impact so many people who want to be in the space and need some inspiration, somebody to follow, some inspiration to get in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I forget which company this was, but they ran an ad on TV back when I used to watch TV and actually watch ads. But the slogan was "See her, be her," right? And it's kind of an inspirational way of thinking. Like, if you see a female or a minority person on a panel or speaking in a leadership role, then you automatically, sitting in the audience, can say, okay, if I can see her, I can be her. It makes it more of a reality. So
absolutely,
definitely agree with that. Got some interesting comments here from Thomas says, how can you not know Kirill? I've completed so many because you did courses. Abhishek says that we all know what to learn, especially when it comes to data science. Kirill and Andrew have amazing courses on different platforms.
Kirill Adlan. I think it's Adlan.
All right, let's see. So we know it's important. We know why we need to build a brand, but what are some challenges that people face when they start out and try to build that brand for themselves?
Interesting. So, Kate, you and I were on a panel yesterday for Data Robot. We're speaking about these questions, so I might borrow a few of them from there and some answers from there. So there's Eric, Fabio, Kate, Kristen, and I were on this panel. So I think some of the most prominent challenges are psychological challenges, are to do with fear, fear that you don't have anything to share, fear that you're maybe not as good as others, or fear that you'll be criticized, and fear that you will get laughed out of the room. On the other hand, there's also imposter syndrome. That's probably where the not good as others comes in, or like you're not an expert, how to share. So probably addressing those two is the main first step. The imposter syndrome, I would say, is the easy one. You just need to remember that you don't need to be an expert in sharing this. Like, I started out, and I'm still no expert in data science. I'm probably, I don't know a lot of things. A lot of things that I teach, I learn myself for the first time, and I love the process, right? So overcoming that fear of imposter syndrome, understanding you don't have to be an expert. You, like, by learning something and teaching it, you're improving your own knowledge, but you're also helping others, because somebody who's known it for 10, 15 years might be blindsided to the challenges of a newcomer that a newcomer faces when learning this topic. So that's imposter syndrome. Definitely don't need to be an expert. And the fear of being laughed out of the room or being criticized or getting negative comments, there's always going to be negative comments. For me, what works is keep in mind the purpose that you're doing it, right? Whether it's a selfish reason or the selfless reason, think about it this way. If you're going to help even one person, it's worth like having those, confronting those negative feelings about being challenged by other people or being receiving negative comments. Even if you don't help a person, but you reinforce your own knowledge by teaching it, again, it's worth it. On the other hand, even if you teach something that ends up to be wrong at the end, like outright wrong, like a week later, it's all wrong, you've learned as well, because you've gone outside your comfort zone. You've had this experience of failure, and now you have a chance to get up and do it again and like improve. So I think there's plenty of reasons to see why you need to face this fear.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you were answering that question, people were actually asking the question of how to get over the fear. So I think that's something, a common theme is people are afraid to, especially in the beginning, to put themselves out there because they might be judged and because people might have opinions. But I think you answered it right. If you come out of it helping at least one person, and you might not even know if you've helped that person, because a lot of people don't actually engage in your content. I've actually gotten private messages on LinkedIn from people that say, "Wow, you inspired me 3 years ago, and I did this and this." I'm like, "How? What? Where? When? Why?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I've never met this person, but 3 years ago somehow they were motivated or inspired by some
Yeah.
random thing I posted, because I got over the fear." And I personally also had that fear,
And
getting
you
into
have a very fun story you shared yesterday. Like maybe if you could repeat again today, if you don't mind. I thought it was very powerful how you did those initial steps to overcome the fear, like with small steps at a time.
Yeah, I think, for me, the biggest fear was somebody I know seeing my content, which is so weird because people or people who know you likely would like whatever you're putting out there. But that was my biggest fear. Like, what if my family sees this? And then I'm like, my family doesn't care. Like, I could talk about data science all day. They're just going to ignore me. But I think that the first baby step I did was posting something about my goals. And this was years ago, but I posted about the fact that I wanted to get a Tableau certification. So this is like 5-6 years ago, starting out in data analytics. And then a few comments, probably like 3 likes and 2 comments came in that said, "Hey, you can do it." And I'm like, wow, people are nice. And then I started to post more and engage with those people and really building friendships. We're getting a lot of questions for you, man. We're gonna have to.
Awesome.
Yes, let's see.
Let's go rapid fire.
I know. Let's try this. Okay, Matt Diamond, what are your thoughts on building a brand to switch industries in data science? So from example, finance to consumer products.
Love it. Love the question, Matt. When people ask me about, for example, what do you put on your CV at the top, like your current or your role, or what do you put on your LinkedIn? Don't put the role that you're in now, put the role you want to be in. Same answer here. Like if you want to go into consumer products, amazing. Seems like that's driving you. That's something that inspires you. Do data science in consumer products and post about that. Then the right people will find it, the right people will pick out. That's the best way. That's a great reason to build your brand. Amazing, Matt. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I think also being where the community is, right? Even if it's all virtual and online right now, just being part of that community and getting into those discussions, in this case, in consumer products, will automatically try to, get you transitioning from one industry to another.
Yeah, that's right. And like look for case studies in that space. Maybe make a mock data set about consumer products, or you read something. You don't have to like do data science to then share it every single time. Sometimes you might read something, you have an opinion about it, share that. Or like that's how I started out posting on LinkedIn. I was just looking at articles, forming an opinion, sharing an article, writing my opinion at the top. That's a very easy way to get started as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, next question, Sandra. Which steps can you recommend for someone who started to build their brand in data science? So basically, practical tips to get started.
I think you had a great practical tip yesterday, and that was to actually share not just thought leadership, huge pieces, but actually share tips and tricks. Like if you learn a cool tip or a trick using Tableau, how to do a dimension swap or a measure swap, share that, even if it's been written about 15 times before. People, the internet is huge. Not everybody has seen everything. Or if you learn how to use Google Colab better in a certain way, or how to do something in TensorFlow, share that as well. Like I think that's the easiest thing. Share the things that you are learning. Some of the biggest influencers right now in this space, look at Randy Lau, look at Fabio Vasquez, have built their brands by simply sharing things they progressively learn. You learned a new thing, you practice what they said, just share the code, everything. There are people that, again, you don't have to be an expert. So there are people at your same level who are going to find that super useful.
Yep, exactly. It's kind of like learning out loud and sharing your perspective along the way, because your peers are super curious about this, right? That people look to experts to know everything, but people look to their peers to share experiences that they can actually relate to, and you might actually grow your brand quicker than the expert, because you're seen as a peer, you're seen as a friend, and people want to grow with you. So
absolutely, yeah.
All right, question here, Pew. Do you think writing small technical blogs is a step towards building a brand, even if they're not appreciated much?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Persistence is the way to building a brand. You just need to keep doing what you're doing. And for example, LinkedIn is a great platform to share those blogs. Like before, you need to get a blog, install WordPress or Weebly or whatever else, and then start posting. And like those days are gone. You just go on LinkedIn and you post. They have a great blogging system. You can go on Medium and post a blog there. You don't have to have a website to building a brand. You can start today. You don't. It doesn't have to be complex. So absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I think early on, the way it feels like, and I forget who described it like this, but they say when you start building your brand or start posting on social media for the first time, it's almost like screaming into an empty room, and you're just like, "Hi, here's the stuff," and then you're like, no one responds. Like, so there are small tricks like using proper hashtags, right, or tagging the author of an article that you're sharing to try to get that conversation going, or even tagging some of your peers to get that conversation started, because those little things can help build some fire that leads to a bigger engagement.
Yeah. Kate, could I just jump in on the same question? One more thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think this is very relevant. And yesterday on the panel as well, we talked about two types of brands: external brand, social brand, and internal brand. And if you're listening to this conversation, starting to tune out because you're like, I don't really want to be a social influencer and so on, that's okay, because you can also build a brand internally within your organization, especially if you're in like a large company, whether it's a consulting company or whether it's a company that just like as an enterprise or has a small data science division. All companies right now want to be data driven. Like you either become data driven or you die. It's like 100 years ago, about 50% of the US was electrified. Right now, it was 25%, so like less than half. Right now, there's not a single business in the world I can think of, like including like a farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere that doesn't use electricity, right? Like probably 0.0001%. Data, AI are going to do the same thing. Like Andrew has a comment, AI is the new electricity. It's going to happen the same way, but faster. Like 10, 20 years from now, all companies that are not using AI or data science due to competitive pressure are going to be edged out. So companies want to be data driven, and you can build a brand internally, especially if you love your organization, you love what you're doing. You can help by being like a champion of data science internally and bringing that acumen, making data driven happen, running workshops on Fridays during lunch or something like that, or sending out emails with data tips and things like that, or hacks for Excel and things like that. You can be known as a data guy in your organization, not just in your division. And that's also about building a brand. Again, selfish reasons, you can always take that to your next organization, or you can, that will influence your promotions or your salary level at the organization, how much you're contributing. On the other hand, selfless reason, you're going to help people learn about data, you're going to help your organization, you're going to spread data literacy in your organization. So you can build a brand internally. And your question about writing small technical blogs, that's also very relevant internally. So if you're working on some some data set, and that might be too sensitive data, or you might not get the permission to share it externally on LinkedIn or other social media, well, maybe you have a social media internally, maybe you have Slack, maybe you have some other tool where you can share internally. And as long as your manager agrees, which is much more likely to happen internally, you can share it and share your success internally, and and share the tricks and hacks used, or writing that small technical blog, but posting it internally for your organization to see. That can be a great way to build your brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was Eric yesterday who mentioned something similar, where he said, be seen as the helper in the organization, so people can actually go to you if you are the data professional. Be always willing to lend a helping hand, so then people can actually trust you and go to you, and then you're actually seen as the person with the data brand in the company. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a lot coming in, man. All right, Anshuman, so what would be your suggestion to build a brand as a senior professional for those who need to manage data science teams?
Ooh, wow, amazing. That's a really cool question. So there's challenges that come in managing data science teams, and challenges that are not like you normally don't experience as a manager. For instance, like what the cross-domain expertise of data scientists. Like if you're a centralized unit, first of all, like there's two types of data science units. For instance, you might have a centralized unit of data science, or like an independent unit of data science that is helping different divisions in the business, or you might have data scientists that are spread out across the organization. Already that contrast, you can be like lessons learned from a decentralized data science team, lessons learned from a centralized data team, whatever it is for you. That's number one. Then you can also, so there's challenges coming from that. Then how do you maintain that cross-domain expertise? How do you do data science in operations and in finance and in product and in marketing? And how do you train your data scientists to use their cross-departmental knowledge? So for instance, a manager in data science is very different to a manager in product or in marketing or in any other area of the business, finance, because you're not specialized in one domain. Your skill set and your team skill set is very diverse. So you can definitely spread it out across into other domains. You can create pieces on how do I help, like pieces that will help non-data science managers bring data science into their division. Like how do you use data science in finance, or how do you, as a finance manager, how do you collaborate with the data science division and ask them for help? Or how do you phrase, one of the biggest challenges for data science is like understanding the phrasing of the problem, like what problem are we solving? Help other managers phrase their problems correctly. And again, Ashman, this is a great opportunity for you to build a data science brand or data brand for yourself internally within the organization, helping other managers work with you better. At the end of the day, just keep in mind that all organizations are going to have to become data driven. Therefore, all managers are going to need to support that. Therefore, they're going to need to learn how to do that. So I think that's the answer.
Absolutely. Great advice, Kirill. A question for you, from me. I'm just curious to know, do you use other social media platforms? I know most people, at least here, use LinkedIn, but do you use anything else?
That's a good question. I don't use LinkedIn that much. Like what I found for myself is that, well, to answer the question straight away, I use LinkedIn. I use Udemy for posting courses. I use our website, Super Data Science, for posting courses as well. And I use like all these podcasting, like basically the Super Data Science podcast for publishing podcasts. And what I found for myself is that at the start, I started like sharing my opinions on things on LinkedIn. I've written a couple articles here and there. I've done different things, but I've realized along the way, I was fortunate to discover what I actually enjoy. And I enjoy taking a complex topic, I don't know, like A3C, or I don't like, what was it recently? Deep reinforcement learning, or some NLP topic, and like diving it deep into it and breaking it down a very intuitive level and doing it in video format. So, and then I stuck to that. So you'll see that I don't have as many posts on LinkedIn, only like when we have a new podcast or when something exciting is going on. But we publish a lot of courses because I love doing that. So my advice would be, I experiment with a lot of stuff, whether it's writing blogs. Like for me, writing blog is rewarding at the end, but I always want to be like, in the words of Tim Urban from Wait Bad Why, I want to be the person, I want to be the version of myself that has already written that blog in the past. Right? The process of writing that blog is extremely painstaking. It takes me weeks. But recording a video is much easier. So experiment with mediums, and you can use YouTube. You can use YouTube to post videos. You can start a podcast, post audios, or use YouTube to post audios, whatever else. There's lots of mediums. Don't get stuck. Don't get hung up on the idea that you have to post blogs, even if you don't like it, because the bottom line is, if you're doing something that you're not enjoying for the purpose of building a brand, you're going to fail, right? Like you'll learn from the failure, hopefully. But the point is, if you want to be successful in building a brand, it has to be something that you ultimately enjoy, that doesn't feel like work, that the test here, it comes from a book, The Big Leap, right? Zone of genius versus zone of expertise versus zone of I forgot the other two. Basically, is would you pay money to be allowed to do that thing? If the answer is yes, then you love doing that thing. If the answer is no, then you shouldn't, like, maybe that's not your best medium, right? Everybody loves to share. Just find the way that you love to share most.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many different ways that you can put content out there and build your brand. It could be text. Some people love writing blogs, right? They don't get anxiety writing long articles. Some people love being on camera, and some people would rather, I think, do anything else but get on camera. So you definitely don't have to feel the pressure to do anything that you really, really hate doing. There's also document posts, there's short form posts, there's their pictures. I mean, that's
code sharing on GitHub, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different methods and mediums that you can experiment with and find what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Before we continue taking questions, I do want to give you a minute to talk about the Data Science Go virtual session that's coming up this weekend. So if you want to just tell people where they can find more information, what is it? Is it free? How do people sign up? And I'm actually going to put the screen up here for you.
Oh, wow. This looks so cool. Like, it's so cool. Right? All right. So this is Data Science Go. You can find it at datasciencego.com/virtual. It's free. It's absolutely free to attend. It's a conference happening this weekend, virtual conference. We've been putting a lot of planning into it. Yeah, grab your tickets as fast as you can. It's absolutely free, but we have a limited number of seats because it's our first time doing it. So we want to make sure we do it right and that we can manage the size of the audience. So here you would have to actually apply and pull in all of your details, and then we'll invite you. But even if you don't end up coming to conference, you get the recordings afterwards. We've got some really cool speakers. So Emily Robbins, day 1 is for beginners, day 2 is for advanced practitioners. Day 1, Emily Robinson's doing a talk about building your career in data science. Then Michelle is doing a Tableau workshop. Adlan is doing a Python workshop on day 2. And yes, on day 2 we have John Krohn doing an NLP case study for advanced data scientists. We have Stephen Welch doing a deep learning and computer vision workshop. Then we have Fabio Vasquez doing a data science pipelines workshop. We have guests like the first data scientist at Uber, Bradley Wojtek, guests from Deloitte, Apple, Oracle, and our keynote speaker just confirmed this week. Super excited about this. It's not on the website yet, but we will add him soon. Is DJ Patel, the ex-chief.
Oh, nice! Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super excited. Ex-chief data scientist of the U.S. who worked at the Obama administration. So
the White House, yeah. I interviewed him for my book. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's so friendly and so just encouraging. So grab your tickets at datasciencego.com/virtual. And even if you, for some reason, won't be able to make it or somehow don't get a ticket, you will get the recording. So it's definitely worth it.
I actually signed up as well. And I put the link in the comments for people who just want to click the link and get their free pass. All right, back to questions. Thank you. So Maria's asking, do you have advice specific to university grads just starting out in the data science world?
Great question. My advice from personal experience, so 2 types of advice. First one, applicable, I think, to everybody. What matters in your data science career is not experience, is what you can do, right? So can you get the job done? The end. Doesn't matter, like you'll see jobs for data science and still it's very unclear to recruiting managers how to hire data scientists correctly. So you'll see requests for 5 years of experience or 6. When I was applying for my job in the industry, they asked for 6 years of data science experience, or 6 or 4 years of data science experience. And this was in 2014. It wasn't called data science. I think it was an insights analyst, which morphed into data scientist afterwards. But they asked for 4 or 6 years of experience in the field. Data science only existed for 4 years at the time. That's crazy. And so, but like I only had 2 years of experience, official formal experience at Deloitte, but I still went for the interview. I still showed them that I could get the job done. So don't be afraid to do that. Like if you think you can get the job done, still apply. I would say that. And the other thing is my person, like, and in order to be able to get the job done, you have to like do practical exercises. So look for workshops or find a data set that you love. There's plenty of data sets. I found a really cool one about Marvel and DC comics on Kaggle recently. You can analyze all of the characters in Marvel and DC and visualize. Yeah, like do some machine learning or whatever and things like that. Yeah, so you need to have that hands-on experience and show, like, maybe post all that stuff. So when you apply for the job, just send a link to your brand, whether it's LinkedIn or wherever else, and people can look at all the things you've done. That's number one. But the other advice is, for me, it's biased. It's not for everybody. But if you're considering getting into consulting, I highly recommend it because you get exposure to lots of different industries. And before you start your career officially, let's say in banking or in finance or in, I don't know, healthcare or whatever other type of like company you choose industry you want to go into, by joining a consulting firm, but also obviously like understanding like that you will get that all these different types of projects. If that's the case, then that'll be very beneficial to your career because you get a feel for data science in lots of different areas, and that'll help you better understand where you want to end up, what kind of data, what kind of business domain knowledge you are most excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you said. The only thing I'd add, I guess, is as a student, sometimes you might feel like you don't have much to add because you're just learning the stuff. But I think sharing your learning journey, basically documenting the process of you learning something, or sharing, okay, I failed at this, but then I went to Stack Overflow and found this great answer, and just sharing that with people, I think is another great way to continue building that brand, because as mentioned before, you kind of learn and grow together. So got a question here from Andrew. It's addressed to me, but Kirill, I want you to answer as well. So he says that, you post a mix of personal content with business content, and he's asking if this is an intentional plan or what I enjoy. So just briefly, I want to tell people that I in no way intended to build any sort of brand when I started posting on LinkedIn. It was truly just a way for me to learn data science, analytics, Tableau, data visualization, and I would share that process with other people. Along the way, I did some cool things that in my opinion, were cool, like running marathons or running long distances, and I would share that as well. And I don't think I share much about my kids, but once in a while I'll post something like schools have been closed, for the rest of the year due to COVID. So I would share small personal insights, or my guitar playing that I'm not very good at. And I think that makes you more authentic as a person. It was not intentional. I just thought it'd be fun to share with other people. But Kirill, what are your thoughts? Do you mix in any personal content, or do you stay professional?
That's a great question. By the way, I love your personal content. It really helps lighten the mood, especially when you know somebody for, that they post quality, cool things professionally, and then they post something personal. That's awesome. Like, it's refreshing. Like you mentioned yesterday, your TikTok video. That was so funny. I don't even know what TikTok is, but it was like, wow, that was really cool.
I think it has more users than LinkedIn at this point.
That's crazy. That's like how fast technology is, right? Like rise and grow and things like that. My view on this, I like to do that as well. For example, on the Super Data Science podcast, I post once a week. I have a guest interview that I post, which comes out on Wednesday. I think it's evening, US time, and on Friday morning, I post like a short. It should be short, 5-minute Friday episode, but sometimes they're like 20 minutes long, about something that happened in my life, right? Like that. Oh, I'm reading this book called like Deep Work, and what he talks about, like how to focus, or random stuff. Or like recently I've been discovering for myself that if I chunk my sleep into 90 minutes segments, right, whether like, for example, if I want to sleep a full night's sleep, it's actually 7.5 hours, not 8, because it's 5 segments, then that works really well. Right now, just before this, like, this is absolutely like so cool. I was like, I'm tired. I didn't have full sleep. So I budgeted in like 1.5 hours nap. Not 1 hour, not 2 hours, 1.5 hours nap, and maybe 20 minutes before to fall asleep. And I set my alarm for like 2:40. I woke up at 2:35 myself. So if you chunk your sleep into 9 minutes, that's a full sleep cycle. You will wake up naturally, whether it's 1 or it's 5 of them. If you want to have a refreshing nap, a quick one, it has to be under 26 minutes, according to calm.com, according to their app, because otherwise you fall into the deep sleep and then it'll be worse to wake up. So it's either 26 minutes or less, or 1.5 hour chunks. So that's a really cool discovery, right? Not related to data science, kind of data, but not really related. It's a personal thing. But I want to share that with the world because it can help people sleep better and get energy.
Kirill, are you trying to say you were sleeping right before the session? So
Yeah.
So there's a chance you would have overslept the session.
I had an alarm. I had like 2 alarms, but I woke up before.
Amazing. Perfect. There you go. Thanks. All right. A lot of comments here about the virtual Data Science Go session. People have signed up.
Thanks to people looking.
Going to be a great keynote. Awesome. Satya's asking what's the name of the conference again and how to sign up. So Data Science Go virtual. And
datasciencego.com/virtual.
Right. And I added the link in the comments. I can add it again. And Vipul actually sent the link. So thanks to Vipul. Lena has signed up. A lot of people have signed up. Okay. Oh, Rabbit is here. Rabbit, hey, he said this is awesome. Thanks for joining us. Kevin said it's not letting him register. I guess something to take up after the session.
Just send an email to our support@datasciencego.com.
Okay. All right. Question from Adrian here. So, what's your opinion about hackathons or similar competitions like Kaggle, competitions to start some challenging tasks or improve learning?
I love it. Do it. Go for gold. And if you like, they're very. I haven't done a Kaggle competition, but from what I've heard, I've interviewed quite a few people who have. They're very challenging. Oftentimes, you have to be part of a team and things like that. So it's a great way to practice like teamwork and remote teamwork and things like that. But don't limit yourself to like, I have to be part of like an official Kaggle competition. If you go on Kaggle.com, I think it's like data or data sets, you'll see they publish data sets from past competitions and other cool data sets. You can just take those and create your own challenge and solve it, or even solve the challenge they were solving it, and then publish a blog post about that. So you don't have to wait for a real competition to happen and go through the weeks and stuff like that. You can just use their data set to explore. So either way, absolutely great idea.
Yeah, I think you can also go a step further there. In addition to blog posts, to practice your presentation communication skills, you can actually record a short 3 to 5 minute video if it doesn't, freak you out completely, and share that as well, because that allows you to really communicate what you've done, what your findings were, and I think solidifies your knowledge, because if you're able to talk about it and teach it, chances are you know it better than if you can write it.
And it also helps potential employers or people who want to interview see you. Well, like, what's your voice like? What's your personality? What's your intonation? How excited are you about this stuff? And I recommend doing like a screencast of your screen where you're coding, plus a little video of your face in the bottom, if you can. So that way they can build a personal connection. Imagine that, like, you're applying for a job and you've done this amazing thing, and you have a blog post plus a video, you send that to a recruiter, and it's exactly, and I think somebody was asking about product, data science, or consumer products. Like, you want to get a job in consumer products, you've done a case study on it, you've recorded a video, and that's, instead of your CV, you send them your LinkedIn, and you send them a link to that piece, which is like on Medium or on LinkedIn. Boom, right? Like, they're like, this is exactly who we need. Recommender systems in consumer products. He's done 3 Kaggle challenges. This one is like insane. He's got all the skills. Let's invite him to the interview. Like, it's like a beacon flashing out there, showing recruiters, oh, that's the person that we need.
Absolutely. I think it even works well if you're not looking for a job. The reason I share this is because once I started posting about data science and all this, the number of interesting opportunities that came my way, and I'm not looking for a job or anything like that, but I was contacted by so many different companies just saying, hey, we could use somebody like you on our team. And I was just like wondering, why are they contacting me? And it was because I kept talking about the subject, and they basically thought, oh, wow, she's really passionate about this space. She's really excited. Here's some of the work she's doing. Even if you're not looking for work, it actually starts becoming a magnet that's attracting employers.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And how much better?
Like, how much better is it to be in a situation where you're not hunting for all these jobs, sending out your CVs and like trying to apply? You just spend, instead of doing that in the next 3 months, you probably get a job if you do that for 3 months. Send out like 10,000 CVs. But instead of that, take 6 months and build a brand, and get, after 6 months, all these recruiters and jobs coming to you. Say no. First, say no to everything that comes. Like, promise yourself for the next 6 months, I'm going to say no to every job opportunity that comes my way. Might sound ridiculous right now, but they're going to start coming. They're going to flood your inbox. And after 6 months, you're going to have like a whole list of job opportunities and new ones coming. And then you sit down and you pick the one that you want. 75% of people in the US hate their job. The end. Like, why do you want to be part of that 75% when you can spend a bit of extra time, build a brand, and get to pick the job that you want? Like, it doesn't take that long, and it doesn't take that much effort.
Yeah, I think especially if you can combine data science with the domain that you want to work in, I think that's just the ideal sweet spot. So Kirill, this is going to go in, I don't know which direction, but Heydan wants me to ask you about the story behind your neck chain, and I think I've got to ask you what neck chain, like, and what's the story?
One of them is a cross, which is like a religious chain, and this one's from Tony Robbins. I went to, so I guess Heydan knows about Tony Robbins. So I went to Tony Robbins in 2000, Date with Destiny in 2014 for the first time. Totally loved it. Life-changing experience for me personally. And yeah, since then I've been to 2 Date with Destinies and 2 business masteries. Haven't been to Unleash the Power Within. Highly recommend to everybody, if once coronavirus is over and events are back, it's a great way to rewire your brain to be like we often get stuck in our blueprint that has been formed since our childhood, and we're like react to certain things. Like, life is not about your thinking. Life, or what happens around you. Life is like, there's an event, there's a reaction, or goes through your blueprint in your head. It goes into like it triggers an emotion. An emotion triggers decision, right? If the part of your brain that's to do with emotions is damaged, you cannot make decisions. You can rationalize them, right, logically, but there's studies I've read about one today, that there's studies that prove that you cannot actually go and make the decision if the part of your brain that's responsible for emotion is damaged. So it's event, blueprint, emotion, action. And so if you got a blueprint that is none of your doing, your childhood upbringing, the surroundings that were around you, things that happened when you're 5 years old, that have impacted you in a fundamental way, you have a blueprint of reactions that is not serving you well, you can rewire yourself. I know it has nothing to do with data science, but it has a lot to do with psychology. And in careers, like in business, 80% of success is actually psychology, not the things that you do.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go to a Tony Robbins event for a couple of years now. It's just they tend to run on weekends, and I think they run all day.
Yeah, 6 days sometimes. 6 days, yeah. 12 hours. Like, it's crazy. I don't know how he does it. He gets on stage at 10 a.m. and he gets off stage at 1 a.m. Like 12 plus hours these events run. And you don't even get lunch breaks. You don't get toilet breaks. It's like, it's just non-stop, and the energy level is crazy high. It's a really fun event. Like, even to go to just for the fun of it, it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. I watched so many of his videos. So, okay, moving on. Thanks for that. Talk about your chain. So, Rabbit is saying, since I come from the publishing industry and have closely worked with Hadelin, I have an interesting question for you. Do you have a plan to write a book sooner than later? If yes, what type of tech do you plan to cover in the book?
Oh, okay, Ravid. Well, thank you for the question. I've already written a book. It came out in January 2018. It's called Confident Data Skills. It's like a purple book. The second edition is actually coming out in September, I believe, and it'll be updated. In a nutshell, it covers, basically, it's a book where you can, I had this dream, or like I had this vision of writing a book you can read about data science, which you can read on a train or on a plane. You don't need to code. Like, at all of the books right now, you have to like code, but I wanted to help people understand data science without having to code. So the book is very intuitive understanding of data science and practical application. Like, how is the naive Bayes algorithm? What is it? And for example, how it can apply to breathalyzer tests. Why do policemen breathalyze you twice if you are suspected to maybe be intoxicated instead of just once? What is the error there, and how does it get mitigated by doing it twice, and things like that. So I think it's a book for anybody who wants to jump into data science in a very friendly way, or upskill their intuitive understanding of algorithms that you're already using. So there's the book in a nutshell. Confident Data Skills, if you want to check it out.
Oh, I was just pulling it up on Amazon so I could show people your book.
Oh, thank you. Kate has a few cool books as well, right? Oh, you have one book so far?
I have The Journey to Data Scientist and The Disruptors. That's the one where I interviewed DJ Patel. But we've got another book coming out soon, Mothers of Data Science.
I've been looking forward to that one with Kristen, right?
Oh, yeah, and I also got a Data Literacy for Kids with Jordan Morrow. I keep forgetting about them because it's for kids. But this is it, right? The purple book, Confident.
Yeah, the purple book, Confident Data Skills.
I like the way you did the I with the slash. That's cool.
It's all the designers. I had not much say in that, but I'm happy with how it came out. I've had comments from people I want to be as modest as I can, but I've heard from people that they use it in UCSD to teach the data science class. And an interesting thing I've heard, in the New York University, a professor uses his book to teach people how to build a business in the music industry. Because you have to use data science in all areas, and they don't want to get too technical with all the coding. These are business people building businesses in the music industry, out of all places where I would think the book would be used. But somebody is using it for their class there, and people seem to like that it's not too invasive, and that's my area of expertise. To be fair, like I'm not going to go and explain mathematics and things like that, and even coding. We have Adlan who does that. I love the intuitive part. So as we discussed before, I focus on doing what I love in pretty much any medium I try. But one thing, writing a book is really hard. It took me like 1.5 years for every edition. So brace yourself if you're planning on doing that.
Yes, absolutely. Here's a question for Peter. Piotr? I'm running a conversion optimization business, and we use data extensively. How to balance writing for clients with case studies and results and more technical articles with R code snippets?
Well, Piotr, if you're running a business from a business owner to a business owner, I would say to delegate that, right? So to hire a team of writers to write, especially about the case studies and results. I don't think you need to. You in this case, you want to build a brand for your business rather than for yourself, right? Like I'm not sure exactly where you want to go with this. If you want to build a brand for the business, I would hire those copywriters and write like the case studies and results. They can write it. Your technical team can write the R code snippets. If you want to build a brand for yourself, I would try to understand what brand do I want to build, right? Like try not to sit on too many chairs at the same time, and see what you want to be known for. Like, what are you really passionate about? Is it the case studies and the application, or do you love the code? And then just stick to that and let your business do the other thing or the other things. So I think that there's a way to find the optimum here, but just again, it might sound cliche, but follow your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Great advice, Kirill. So we've got a question here from Princey. What were the most important decisions or daily routines that helped you the most in making yourself in brand and data science? I love this question. Go ahead.
Great question. For me, at the very start, I just was sharing opinions on the articles that came out. There was a platform called clout.com where you can find I don't know if they're still around, where you can find them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like they rank, like based on what people are tweeting and stuff like that, they rank, what's the most popular article this week? So I would go there. I think I even got a subscription to it. And find the most popular articles. I would read them. I would then use a tool called Hootsuite. There's plenty of other tools now. And then I would actually schedule in these posts. Like on a Monday, this goes out. On Tuesday, this. And just my opinion. So I don't even have to post it every day. I can just schedule them for during the week and, like find the best times to post and things like that. And that helped me within 3 months of doing that. At some point, I realized, okay, Deloitte, I've had enough. 2 years, amazing. But I gotta move on. I don't know how, Kate, how you did 8 years. It's so
8.5 years. You got to count the half, okay?
8.5 years. That's crazy. Like staying up until 10 p.m., sometimes 2 a.m. These consulting projects, it's nuts. It is good. It's good fun. But I realized, okay, I'm done with this. I started posting it within 3 months. I got a recruiter contacting me, 2 banks contacting me. I wasn't even sharing any code. I was just sharing my opinions. And all these people, or they were just checking my profile, and I would see who checked my profile, and I would say, hey, I noticed you checked my profile. Can I help you with anything? And one of those messages landed with a recruiter who eventually got me the job. And within three or so months, I ended up interviewing with 2 major banks in Australia. Not 2 of them. One of them was the Big 4 bank, like 2 big banks in Australia, and a superannuation company where I ended up going, which is like a pension fund. Only 3 months right now. So that's to start. Right now, I would say the best habit that I've kept up for 3 years or almost 4 years now, is a podcast. So recording a podcast every week, sometimes like 3 in a week and then take a rest and so on. But publishing a podcast every single week, I don't think I haven't missed a week in almost 4 years. So
oh wow. But do you always have a guest, or is it sometimes just you on that podcast?
It's been like on the Wednesday podcast, it's been just me, maybe like 4 times. Like every new year I post a new year resolution or like my learnings from the past year. So only those episodes. Otherwise, I've had a guest every single time. And it's you have to keep in shape to keep up with your habits, and it definitely pushes you. So great question. I highly recommend coming up with habits that work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a podcast for those who don't know, superdatascience.com/podcast. So you have 373 episodes.
So 180 guests or so.
Oh, John Crone. I always
Yeah,
love seeing people that I've met before. Very
you
cool. Okay.
were on the podcast as well. DJ Patel, yeah. So that's the person that will be coming, hopefully.
Brandon or yeah, Rico Hadlin. Yep, there we go. Cool. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I agree. I think the daily habit is basically what you do on a daily basis. What adds up to be the big thing at the end, right? Is these tiny little habits. There's a book I think called Atomic Habits that the little things that you do every day basically have this crazy compounding effect, like interest that results in either success or not, right?
That's
And
awesome.
yeah,
What's your habit, Kate?
huh?
What's your habit for building a brand?
My habit, I think, truly being interested in, let's say if I create a post and I ask a question, I am truly interested in the answers that I get back. And I think that's what helped me the most, because then I start engaging with the individuals that actually respond and building a conversation, getting a discussion, sometimes getting on a call. Or with Kristen, the way it happened was, for those who don't know, Kristen Kerr, she was one of the LinkedIn top voices, and I'm writing a book with her. But we met just randomly on LinkedIn. I forgot who messaged who, but I ended up bringing her on my video podcast, which is the Humans of Data Science. And then eventually she came over to my house with her daughter. She slept over. We were writing this book. We met up again. I think it was like upstate New York somewhere, where we had a sleepover party, and like really real friendships, right? And it all started on LinkedIn. And it's interesting to think of it that way. But my habit is just caring about the content that I'm putting out there and being myself. But I also just post a lot, like at least daily. I'm on the platform. I'm engaging. I'm posting. I'm just talking to other people, and I think that definitely helped a lot.
That's awesome.
All right, let's see. You're good to continue, Kirill?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Sudeep is asking, how can you keep up with building data science brands along with your full-time job? Love that question.
We had that question yesterday, right?
We might have.
Yeah. I think Kristen.
Somebody asked about the time commitment.
Yeah. Time commitment is quite high, I would say. But I think Kristen made this comment about finding synergies. So if you're doing like a project at work that is exciting for you, hopefully that's what you do at work, then talk to your manager about sharing that data set, or desensitizing and then sharing that data set and a case study on LinkedIn or on a blog platform or so on. So then you like get the benefit of the two, and then you can actually, like, if it was a long project, like several months, you can share it, break it up into several blog posts, and then talk a little bit about, make some opinions or maybe some comments, a video. Like, you can get a lot out of that. So becoming a master at synergizing different content, or getting extra value out of the things you already do, will definitely go a long way for you.
Yeah, I think one thing that people might feel if they're spending time on social media, let's say while they're working, and they'll feel guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't be spending time on social media. I think you need to just flip your thinking a little bit, and maybe block time. Could be during your lunch break, like 30 minutes, and being intentional with your use of social media can actually go a long way, because then you've blocked time for this. You're not going to feel guilty. Let's say if it's before your work starts, or it's during your lunch break, or it's after work where you're putting in the time. I think that can also help, because I know it is difficult. I did this while I had a full-time job as well, and it is difficult, but it's doable, right? That's the good news. If you truly love it, it's absolutely doable.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great advice. Chunk in your social media time for sure. Otherwise it can get really like seep into your life everywhere.
Yes, it is addictive, especially when things are going well. It actually gets addictive as well. Okay, question from Amna. How to start a data project if you have access to a website's data? How to go about formulating a data problem? What advice do you have there?
Okay, I'm not quite sure what website's data means, but let's say you have, well, I'm going to assume here, Google Analytics data. That's what the data you're talking about, that you have access to that data. I would read up. It sounds like a marketing problem. Sounds like, okay, how many people are on a website? What's the bounce rate? What articles have been used a lot? What's the organic rate? What's the paid ads rate, and so on. I would look at, so that's a very industry specific problem. I would look at what other data science problems have been solved in that industry. So look at case studies that have already been done, and see which ones you can apply. I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel or bicycle. Just look out for best practices and things that have been done. Do them yourself. Like the best way to become successful is to learn from people who have already accomplished success. And learning from other people's mistakes is a big, useful habit to have or skill to have in life.
Yeah, thanks for that. And guess who joined us?
Hey, Ben!
Ben here from Data Robot. So he says, thanks for joining.
Chief AI evangelist. Best job ever. Love it.
What does that even mean, We should get Ben into the session. Since he's
let's throw him in if
Ben, if you're up for it, comment.
Ben, switch your camera on, join in.
Jump in for our last 5 minutes here. All right, let's see. Question from Nitin. What is your opinion on combinations of data science and software engineering?
Very cool question. I was talking to Lawrence Moroney, who is the I think he's an AI advocate for TensorFlow or some similar role to that. But basically, he runs a youtube.com/TensorFlow channel. And his mission is to help 10% of the 30 million developers in the world to use artificial intelligence. So there you go. So software, I guess software engineering is similar to software development. That AI is going to permeate. And he actually shared a really cool, his vision on that is that artificial intelligence is going to become like another branch of software development, or in this case, software engineering, that you have web development, you have mobile development, you have software development and things like that. Well, AI is going to be like another tool or another branch that you're going to need to use, or a lot of people are going to be using in software. So I recommend checking out artificial intelligence and also TensorFlow YouTube channel. Lawrence Moroney is a great person to follow around that topic.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, question here from Hitam. Would be interested to know about an experience where you guys have hit a roadblock, professional or in general, and how did you overcome it?
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first. I messaged you. Sure.
Okay. Wow. So many roadblocks. Life is all about roadblocks and falling and getting up again and doing it all over again. Okay, well, I guess with this coronavirus, the professional roadblock was that we couldn't run our Data Science Go event in Berlin, which we were planning. So we've been running Data Science Go for 3 years. This is our 4th year. We were planning 2 this year, one in Berlin, one in Southern California in October, and Berlin was in May. We couldn't run the one in Berlin, and our team came up with the idea, let's do a virtual event. Why not? Instead of that, in addition to the California event, let's do a virtual event. And I guess the lesson from this is think outside the box, right? Like force yourself to whatever is comfortable. Don't do what's comfortable. Do something else. And life is short, right? Even if you make mistakes, you're going to have cool experiences. But if you do the same thing all over again, your life will just blend into this one long chain of doing the same thing. I would much rather make mistakes, but do fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. As you were talking, I was thinking of my own roadblock. I don't really see many roadblocks in life because I see them all as like challenges, like, ooh, let's tackle this one next. And I'm going to bring Ben in a minute. So I'll just finish my thought here. So I graduated college with a finance degree in 2009 in New York. For those who might not be aware, this was during the financial crisis where all banks were at a hiring freeze. And my main goal, my main objective coming out of college was to get a job at a bank. So 0 chance of that happening, just like, similar to people, I think now during the pandemic where they had these big dreams and hopes and there's like, okay, very slim chance, right? So all the finance majors were changing into accounting or anything else really. And at that point, I remember thinking like, well, they're still going to need at least somebody in finance and that's going to be me, right? So that was a challenge that I decided to take on. But the way I faced that was just networking. That was my answer to almost any problem, is just getting to know the right people that could potentially help you. And that was how I got my first job. So that was my long story short, because I know we've got Ben sitting here. Hey, Ben.
Hey,
look.
Ben.
Hey, what's up?
Awesome. How you going? Love your cap.
Good.
So we're talking.
Yeah, I got my Data Robot cap.
Oh, you got a new hat. Look, can you take that off for a minute?
I'm gonna leave it on. Here's a preview.
Oh my God.
Ben, why don't you answer the question? What's been a big roadblock in your life?
I think fear. I think sometimes people get comfortable, and that can stop you from leaving a job, interviewing for a promotion you're not qualified for. Yeah, I think that can be a roadblocker.
Fear for you? I mean, didn't you live outside for like a couple months or something?
Yeah, I still get scared. I was really scared.
I know the story where he was on the news for living outside in a tent.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yes.
So when I went to college, I decided to live in the woods in the snow, and I didn't do it to get attention. I did it to save money, which is so stupid because my dad's a doctor and my mom's a lawyer. So it's like, it's not like I need to save money, but they made me pay for college. And so after doing it for 3 months, my friend said, you should tell the media. And I did. And the media went crazy for this weirdo living in the woods going to college. So.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So we had a bunch of, by the way, for those who don't know Ben, do you want to do a very quick intro since you just joined the session? We'll spend another 10 minutes on if you guys are good.
Yeah.
So if you can remove the question so it's not blocking the view.
Oh, yeah, sure. There we go.
So my name is Ben Taylor. My background, I worked at Intel Micron hedge fund. I was the chief data scientist for a company called HireView. And I did a startup called Zeph.ai. And we were recently acquired by DataRobot. So I am the chief AI evangelist for DataRobot right now.
All right.
Could I add, Kate?
Yeah, go for it.
Ben is my hero. Like when I was I read Ben's article one time. Look it up. It's from 2000, I think 15 or 14.
Is this the one about getting to 100K and like 3 steps to getting to 0 to 100K?
No,
the one I read was Data Scientist Type E. That article changed my life. Speaking of like building a brand, like if you had not written that article, when I read that, I was so tempted to write at the bottom in the comments like, I'm gonna be data scientist type E, and then I'm like, I didn't write it because I wanted not to be too arrogant, but I knew inside I'm gonna be this. And that article of the 5 steps, I was like, God, it's so ignited me. Like I was dreaming of meeting you one day, and like you had not built your brand and done that, I would have not been where I am now.
Well, the crazy thing about that article is people will still tweet at me telling me that it's toxic and that I should delete it from the internet.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Can you link it in the comments on LinkedIn?
Yeah, let me see if so a real quick backstory. The article's essentially what type of data scientist should you hire for your first data scientist? It's not controversial. It's just like, well, hire someone with some experience, some motivation, someone who's maybe willing to break through a few walls. And so if I had written that article, no one would have really paid attention. And so when writing an article, you think about the title. And if the title was how to hire your first data scientist, maybe I'd have 1,000 views or something. But instead, I changed the title to, this is why your data scientist sucks.
Yeah.
And that offended everyone because I don't know everyone. Like I don't know everyone, and everyone took offense. But what I was trying to hit on is if I'm reading this as a business owner, and if I'm thinking these thoughts that my data scientist sucks, they probably do for the stage of the company that I'm in. And I would put myself in that position. Like I've definitely been that stage where I'm not delivering value. I'm tuition. I'm learning everything on the job. So anyway, thanks, Kirill. I'll go find it right now so I can link it in.
Yeah, no, thanks to you.
That Gabrielle's asking, will the video be available later? Yes, it's actually going to stay on LinkedIn. You can also find it on YouTube. Story by Data is the name of the channel. Question here for Kirill while Ben looks for the article. What would be the best way to maximize attending the upcoming Data Science Go, that virtual event that's coming up this weekend?
Be truthful when you're filling in the form. There's a huge form to fill in. We want to get as much, we want to tailor the experience to everybody because, like, for instance, there's 2 days. One is for beginners, one's for advanced practitioners. If you're not an advanced practitioner, like, there's no point in you going there because it will be like over the head, and on the other hand, somebody else will get that seat, which is better for everybody. But then on the other hand, you'll go to the beginner day and you will get to the advanced stage faster. At the same time, there's a question about who do you want to network with, like, because we'll have a networking one-on-ones. So you will get like, click a button, you'll have 3 minutes to talk to a random person, and then boom, you get another random person. It's really fun.
That's
like
actually really cool. I haven't seen any other conference do that.
Yeah. We thought like networking is one of the big things that people love about our events. So here you'll get that opportunity. So put in who you want to network with. Don't just check all the boxes. Do you want a mentor? Do you want a peer? Do you want a hiring manager to talk to? Like, just be absolutely like, take the time to fill in that form, and then you'll have the best experience possible.
That's actually a really cool idea for LinkedIn Live, right? Just like take myself off screen and give two people the opportunity to meet and talk to each other. 3 minutes, then next, like speed dating for data science.
Well, this is actually a super exciting topic because it's a huge topic. What is your elevator pitch? So you've got 3 minutes to talk to someone. How can you tell your story in a way that they remember you? Because most of the time we fail to tell a decent story. And so this is something everyone should be thinking about. What is your story? You've got 2 minutes. How can you connect emotionally to a new person?
How do we do it, Ben? It seems like you have the answer. Go ahead.
I'm learning the answers. It's really interesting because I would say for people that get out there and speak, and you guys, you develop emotional intelligence, and you've made mistakes. Like, I've definitely given some terrible talks, terrible interactions. You make mistakes, but these mistakes fall in line with storytelling, communication. I'm a big storytelling nut, Kate, and so you talking about storytelling with data is something I'm not good at, but I'm fascinated by because it's make or break. Like, you fail or win, and if you can tell a story, you win.
Yeah. I always listen to your stories. I know you post those 10-minute videos. I guess 10 minutes is the limit on LinkedIn unless you're doing a live stream. Is that why you?
Yeah, that's why.
Ben could go on for hours.
By the way, so many people shared the link to your article.
So for anyone reading it, this is not personal. I don't know you. It was intentionally written to troll people. So sometimes I like to poke people to make them do something. So I've given talks before where someone will come up to me the next day and they'll say, "What you said really upset me. It really offended me," like a new student. So I've called new students "Hello World candidates," and that really offends them. They get really upset. But then they'll come back and talk to me after they've thought about it, and they've said, "I appreciate what you said, but in the moment, I'm not trying to be mean. I want people to kind of take a status check. Like, I want people to be successful."
Yes.
Did you share the article so we can see it, Kate?
Oh, yeah. You want me to?
That'll be a good nostalgic thing.
Oh man, this will be embarrassing. It's been so long. This article was written in 2014. This was written 6 years ago. That's insane.
All right, let's see. Share article. By the way, Lillian Pearson's here as well, saying hello. Hey, Lillian. Thanks for joining us. Okay.
Did you show the article?
Not yet. Hold on. It's I'm trying to make sure I'm sharing the right window. Yeah, I tried to click the link, and this is what happened.
Oh no! Did they take it down, Ben?
Did you take it down?
No, it's still there.
Hold on.
Wait, what did it do?
It says it said oops. That's all it did. Hold on. I got it. Okay, there it is.
I can see it.
You can see this. The type E data scientist.
Wow, all the memories coming back.
Yeah, 2014. That is crazy. No, but I would relate to that. I used to own a rock climbing store, and I was big into outdoor everything. So it's fun reading this because of how much has changed. Because even this little diagram here is missing.
It would absolutely do nothing to help you.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny because when you read, you have a voice, you have a brand, and everyone's brand is different. My brand, I think, became the most honest on Quora, because Quora you can be even more edgy, more controversial. And last summer I was #1 in the world on Quora for AI, but as soon as I realized that they pay people for asking questions, the authenticity of the whole platform collapsed for me. So I haven't done a single Quora post for a year, but you kind of get this style in the article. There's
hi, I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, so reality distortion, I think, is a very powerful concept. With AI, sometimes the criticism is you're constrained by white papers, you're constrained by incremental gains, and I think there's a lot of value if you think you can do something, you just do it. And that this gets back to fear. So if you're building an AI product and you're venturing off into the unknown, that can be very scary because you don't have a white paper safety raft to protect you, to fall back on. And so I think you kind of need, but this is where experience comes into play because we make a lot of mistakes. Oh, I got a lot of flack. There's a 30,000 hour reference in here that pissed a lot of people off. A lot of people were really angry that I would say something like that.
Yeah, you have to have like 30,000 hours to be an expert.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing I was trying to hit on was these aren't new college grads. These are people that have been obsessed with data. And I think maybe the template in this article is talking about obsession. So if you're not playing with data on the weekend, early in the morning, you probably won't fill this role. And I've had a lot of pushback. People get angry. They say work-life balance. You know, I'm a parent. I have kids. I'm a parent too. I've got kids. You know, we still go boating. We still do fun things. But data science is my obsession. I'm completely obsessed. So anyway,
Before Ben scares people away completely, you don't have to be obsessed. You can just start out and eventually like get more and more into it. So don't be frightened by it. Be inspired. Like that article really inspired me. Find the parts. I never had 30,000 hours of experience, but that other part inspired me, that you have to be the person, well, you call it the smartest person in the room, but like you have to think of yourself as like, I want to answer all the questions. I want to be, you know, I want to take on the challenges. I'm not afraid to like risk it and be wrong, you know, like I think everybody gets their own thing. And if something pushes you away from an article, ignore that and look for what inspires you in it, because ultimately you're in it. And there we go. The mohawk. You're ultimately in it to grow your.
It's happened. Oh my God.
Yeah. The smartest person in the room, because the recommendation is you need to fight to be the dumbest person in the room, typically, for your own development. So at my first job, I felt like I was the smartest person in the room, and at the hedge fund, I felt like I was the dumbest person in the room. And I learned a lot more at the hedge fund.
So, Ben, you have got a question here from Princey asking, what's the quickest way to learn all you know about data science? Go. Teach right now.
So I think you have to get some good books to go through, because you have a foundation that looks like Swiss cheese. You're gonna have a lot of holes in it. So the quickest way to fill that foundation is go through a book. Write in the book. I really like having a pen or a pencil. I recommend destroy the book. So when you get through the book, you're not going to sell it to someone. It's actually completely destroyed because you've highlighted it, you've maybe ripped it up, you've underlined stuff. I really love YouTube, because if you're confused about something, because looking at like us, we've been around a little bit longer. When we went to school, if you're learning linear algebra or something that's a little heavy, too bad, too sad. Like, you just need to learn it and it sucks. You can go find the same topic on YouTube and listen to like a 5-minute clip talking about random forests or something, and it'll make perfect sense. Because who the person that's giving the little overview on XGBoost or some type of deep learning, they're a good communicator. They're communicating at the right level. They're not like an academic way up here where you're drowning in math. So I would say it's easier for people to learn. The last thing I'll end with is excite yourself. So don't just go through these example problems because you need to. Find a problem that you're excited about. I think it's really important for people to do web scraping. Go make your own data set, something that you can't wait for the weekend because I'm going to find out if this works. And it probably won't work, but that's okay. Just keep trying and you'll get something that does.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Absolutely. I asked our team to scrape the, what's it called? Kickstarter, some Kickstarter data sets from 2019, like how the campaigns progressed. And then you visualize how many new comments they get or whatever else. That was so exciting. So yeah, you can get a lot of data sets that, as long as you have fun, I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know, Ben, yesterday you were kind of in the background when we did the panel where you were moderating the session. So I know you couldn't really add your own comments. So giving you an opportunity here to tell people, how do you think they can go about building their own brand in data science?
Yeah, so I think you guys talked about some of these things. Have a regular cadence. So don't post a week and then wait for 2 weeks and then post a few days in a row. I post every single day. I think it's really important. Sometimes people get stuck by what should I write. So if you guys pressure me, Ben, post something on LinkedIn right now. Oh, I don't know what I would say. If you're learning, you're naturally going to be running into things and even just communicating. So talking to you guys, I might think of something like, oh, I never thought of that, or oh, I haven't thought of this. So if you're just authentic, and you said this, Kate, that I really liked. Sometimes people try to reverse engineer the algorithms. Like, should I be posting at 5 a.m. Eastern time every day? Like, should I use this software to figure it out? And just be authentic. Just be very active. Be posting on a regular basis. And then the other thing too is there's not a certain type of influencer. Influencers are unique. And so, like, even us, we are so unique. The types of people that we engage with and interact with, you have different audiences. And so just be yourself. Don't try to be, just be authentic.
Did Kristen say that as well? That you got to be like, don't try to have, or Eric said, don't have a brand internally in your company and then another brand externally, like the same. You have to be
consistent, staying authentic and being consistent. I think we all touched on that a little bit, because when you're being yourself, you're not going to be a different person at work, and you're not going to be a different person online. Just be who you are. I think, was it Dr. Seuss or whoever said, you're the best you that there could ever be in this world.
Everybody else is taken.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I really like that. That's very true. But there's room for all types of personalities.
Absolutely. Yes. So we do have more questions. Maybe we'll take one more here from Hitam. So he's saying, who is a top data scientist? So what are some lesser known qualities that give somebody an edge over the rest? Who wants to take that?
Ben, please go ahead.
Ben, do it. Feels tired.
So top data scientists, I think they're seasoned. Seasoned like a steak. So I don't think a top data scientist has to be someone who's really, really old or they've been around there, but they understand the reality of delivering AI into production. So a top data scientist, they have AI projects that outlive them. They outlast them. It's not just a bunch of notebooks that live in an organization that don't get into production. A lot of big companies struggle to get AI into production. And I think for people that have done that, it's difficult. There's mistakes that are made. There's like, for people listening, how many times have you built a model where you see the results and you say 99%, yes, or you see like this AUC score, like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to tell this executive, like, this is going to change our business. And so there's gray on my beard. Every gray hair is a mistake. It's a model that went bad. And so the recommendation I give people is, if the results are too good to be true, they are. I'm sorry. And that is right, like 90 or 99% of the time. So good data scientist has experience. Breadth is challenging. Like, how do you know everything? How does anyone know everything in the AI space? And you can't. And I don't think you need to. What else do you guys have to add to that? How do you become?
I think the one thing I'd add is being a team player and working closely with the experts, the domain experts or the technical experts, just making sure that you're not working in a silo, you're not doing it all by yourself, and you're involving all the necessary stakeholders so you can actually achieve your goal.
If I can react to what you just said, I love what you just said, because I think there's a lie in the data science community, because we say we're going to be really good at programming, we're going to be really good at math, and we're going to we're going to ramp on domain expertise, but I've completely given up on that. And so but the funny thing is, who are the domain experts? So if I'm building a model like in insurance, I'm going to say, let's get the underwriters in here. And are the underwriters data scientists? Are they executives? No, but they have 10 years of experience working a process. And so data scientists, you're exactly right, Kate, that we need to partner with the SMEs or the subject matter experts. And a lot of times they're not super technical at all. They've just worked the process for 10 years, and they're going to bring up ideas that none of us are qualified to bring up.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I would also add soft skills, being able to ask those questions and formulate the question, but also being able to present once the project is over, you got your insights. a lot of like data science is not just about crunching numbers. It's and building visualizations, also communicating the insights to people who are going to be making the business decisions. And if you're not able to do that, then that bridge is not crossed, or that gap's not crossed.
Yeah, I've made so many mistakes here. So you can't use any words that your mother doesn't know. So if you're talking to an executive, it's so easy to say, this is our confidence band and this is the AUC, and let me tell you why the AUC is so important. And what's happening is you're so excited about the space you're in, you're trying to educate them. If you ever feel like you're educating someone, that's a huge problem, because they don't want to be educated. They're busy. And so my challenge is, how do you use language that they're familiar with? And in data science, we have so much jargon that they're not familiar with. They don't know it. And the temptation is to say it. So I've made so many mistakes where I'm talking about something, very awkward interactions with, so the CEO of HireView, I'm in a meeting, like other people are in this meeting, and he stops me and he says, Ben, we know you're smart. That's why we hired you. You don't have to keep reminding us. And I think when he said that, I kind of thought, well, this is like, what did I do wrong? What's happening? But what I did wrong is there's jargon. There's jargon coming out that's not tied to the ROI. It's not right for the audience. So
yeah. Simplest form is when people say SQL and SQL. Like, it's so natural for us to like, it's the same thing, but actually it's for people like, what, SQL, SQL? It's like, what are those? Like, how are they different? But it's the same thing.
Yeah, I actually recently ran a poll on LinkedIn because, LinkedIn polls are new and exciting. And I asked the question of what's the most difficult thing that people thought was, what was the most difficult thing for data scientists to learn? And they had three options: domain knowledge, soft skills, or technical skills. And interestingly, domain knowledge was like at 60% as most difficult, then soft skills at about 20-some%, and then technical skills was essentially seen as the easiest thing to learn, where if you ask anyone outside of the space, they would say the technical skills, right? Because the programming, all the algorithms, and that's so difficult. So it's interesting to see that it probably had like 2,000 or 3,000 people vote on that. So not sure how statistically significant, but I just thought it was interesting to share. I know we've gone about half hour over of what we planned, Kirill. So I do want to wrap up here, but give both of you a chance to just briefly tell people anything else you want to tell them. Where can they go to talk to you more, or continue the discussion?
Thank you. Okay, it was an honor being here and sharing, and thanks, Ben, for jumping in. As I mentioned, you're my hero, so it's always great to chat with you. I would say the best place to connect right now, Data Science Go. It's coming up this weekend, so if you're watching now, head on over datasciencego.com/virtual. Absolutely free. Join us there. That's all I would like to add.
I'll send the links in the comments again. And Ben, I know you dropped in here.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly, but anything you want to say?
So maybe I'm biased here, but I'll be open with it. I really like Data Science Go. So I've spoken there 3 years in a row. I've been to lots of data science conferences, and I feel like Data Science Go is the only conference that actually cares about people. Like, it's the only conference that really cares about people and improving them. Because I think a lot of times when you go to other conferences, it's all about the speaker. Like, the speaker is there to up their brand. The speaker is there to show, or the vendor. Like, it's all about the vendors and speakers. They don't really care about the audience. Like, who cares? The audience is there to buy stuff or to remind you that you're smart. And Data Science Go is always focused on the people and the attendees. And so I just love that about it. So yeah, endorsement, Data Science Go, definitely go to it.
Thanks, Ben.
Conference. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Ben Taylor Data, on Twitter. I check Twitter once a month.
Yeah, me too. That's so interesting. Thank you both for joining. I actually just want to tell people they're saying they really liked the session, they enjoyed it, they're looking forward to more. I do have a session coming up tomorrow. This is actually going to be really interesting. I added a link there, but it's basically leading through a crisis, where we're going to have we have Cindy Hodson from ThoughtSpot. We've got Dean Stoker, the CEO of Alteryx. We've got Elisa Fink, the professor at University of Washington. She's the former chief marketing officer of Tableau. And then we've got Todd Crossland from the healthcare side of Snowflake. And we're going to be basically talking about leading through the multiple crises that we're facing globally and in the US as well. So if you want to join that, it's also free, and you can sign up in the link that I just shared. All right.
Sounds
Well,
fun.
Matt, thank you everybody for joining, and thank you guys for participating in the session.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Kate.
Good to
All
see
right.
you guys. Bye.
Bye.